All right, good morning everybody. So I want to show you how to create your mandala inspired design for your bowl that you're going to create. So I have an example of mine, but I'm going to show you how to do that step by step. So first off, you're just going to find a piece of paper. It could be the front, that ceramics paper ripped off the front of your packet and just use the back side of that. It could be a piece of printer paper or a piece of binder paper. It doesn't really matter. So what we're going to do though is we are going to be folding it to create different sections. So I'm just going to fold it in half. I like to use my fingernail to kind of crease it. That helps for later steps when we go to do stuff with the clay later. So you can either do that or you can we're going to fold it one more time. You can also use the end of a pencil or a pen to kind of crease that little area. That works too, like that. But we're going to fold it in half this way and this way. So now we have, if I open it back up, you can see I have 4 spots, but I want more spots than that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this corner. So here's where it folds, right? And here's all the open parts up at the top. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold it over like this, and I'm going to crease that part. Now I have I use my pen for creasing. So now I have a little extra fold here, and I'm going to flip it over one more time. And now I'm going to fold this side same way. So it ends up looking almost like the beginning of a paper airplane, right? Okay, so by doing this and by creasing it really good, when I open this back up, I'm going to be able to see that I have created 8 sections. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to be making a pattern that rotates around. So each of these little sections is going to match all the way around. Okay. Now, sometimes it's kind of hard to get started on stuff like this because you're like, well, I want it to look cool, but I'm not really sure what I want to do. So for me to help myself out, when I was working on this one, I just kind of added some little things that I could add on to the side. So if you think about those Zentangle patterns that we did before, you can use some of those patterns or you can think of other things. So really good, easy things, or like that sculpture, the shapes and textures in Sculpey, all those shapes, those are the ones that we're really going to end up using. So you can have a little teardrop. So that's a good shape. You can have a circle. That's an easy shape to make. You could have a diamond. That could be cool. You could have, as we kind of learned about when we were watching like the history for the mandalas and stuff, you can do the lotus leaf. It could either be where it's connected at the base, or it could just be, where it looks like this. You could do that moon shape, or where it was a coil, but then the edges are kind of pointy. You could do that. You could have just a little skinny coil, or you could do like a triangle, right? So there's all kinds of different shapes that you can add on. Now, for me, I decided I wanted to make the middle kind of start off with a circle. So I was going to layer up some different colors of circles. I thought that would look nice. So I'm just going to start in that very center, and I'm going to add a circle onto mine. Now, feel free to be creative with this and feel free to make it look how you want it to look. It just has to end up showing layering on your bowl because we're making the design for your bowl. You have to end up having layering, and you have to use multiple shapes from our shape and texture worksheet that we did the other day. Okay, so now on this one here, I added in kind of some circles in the middle, and on this one, I did some circles in the middle, and then I added on some triangles. And you could either look at it as I added on triangles, or you could look at it as in I added on the little teardrop shape. So I think for me, I'm going to say I want to add on a scale shape first. So I'm just going to make a little curve like this, so it looks like a flower petal. So basically it's just like a petal shape. So it's kind of the pointy one, but like I just trimmed off the extra a little bit. Now, like I said, you want to make it match all the way around. So as I'm doing this, I'm going to keep whatever I add to this first one, I got to add to my next one. And I want to try to keep it as even as possible. So I'm going to keep rotating it. Now, that's one of the things about art is you can actually move the paper around. And just from the way your hand moves, it's actually easier to get a good rotation and evenness on your pencil if you are rotating your paper. And a lot of times students, especially intro to art students or, beginning students, if you don't really draw very often, you feel like you have to always draw with it in the same direction. But you really don't. You can kind of move it around. So like professional artists and cartoonists and all those kind of people, they move it around all the time. They don't keep it in one space. They like to rotate things to make it a little bit easier to use. So I've added on my petal shape. Now I do want to make this really fancy. So I think for me on my inside of my petal, I'm going to make it fancier by adding on 2 lines. So I'm just going to add on 2 lines right here. And by adding on these 2 lines, I'm just making it a little bit fancier, but I'm not doing anything difficult. I just added on 2 lines, right? That's it. But because I'm building on, the previous things that I've made, I can start to make a really fancy design, just like when we did a Zentangle. I can make it look really fancy, even though each individual step wasn't that difficult. The hardest part of this is to just try to keep it as even as you can, and that just takes practice. So the more even you can make it, the better, but just do the best that you can. And we're just making small changes to add on some visual interest. That just means to make it look more amazing, right? So now I've got, my circles. I added on kind of the teardrop or the petal, and now I've added some lines, and already it's looking super fancy. So now I think, kind of like I did on this one, I'm gonna add on that moon shape right on top of my petal shape. So I can think of it as a moon shape, or I can think of it as just a petal that's underneath that first petal that I drew. Either way. But I'm just going to go in and I'm going to add on one more little spot. Now, like I said, we're just adding on stuff. Each individual piece is not that difficult. And it's okay to be creative and try something. And if you like it, great, use it. And if you don't like it, change it. But by adding all these little teeny steps and continuing to add little teeny steps, we're going to end up creating a really amazing and beautiful design without having done that much effort. So even that looks, way more interesting than it did before. And I think I'm going to add a little dot in here too, because I think that would look cool. So I'm just going to add one more layer of interest by adding a dot. Now, when we actually make our bowl, that's the mandala inspired bowl, you're going to be adding on a lot of, little different things and little pieces and stuff. So I think now that I have that, I think I'm going to add on a diamond. So I'm going to add on a long skinny diamond in between my petals, and I'm going to make it follow those lines, right? So I'm using the lines to kind of figure out where stuff needs to be. So I'm just adding on a diamond. And already just by doing these small little changes, it's already looking really fancy and fantastic, right? And when we go to make our bowl, it's going to be kind of a similar process where, each individual step is not that difficult, because really you're just adding on a dot, or you're just adding on a little petal, or you're just adding on a diamond, or, whatever it is that you're adding on. But the process of layering it ends up making it look really extra fancy. So you're going to kind of continue adding on to these. So now that I have that, maybe I'm going to add on, maybe I'll do my lotus leaf. So maybe I'll have my lotus leaf come in between here. And as long as I'm keeping each of my little sections the same as the other sections, then I've still got that radial balance. That's called radial balance, when you can cut it like a pizza and all the slices match. That's the radial balance that we're working with for our mandala inspired thing. So as long as you're keeping all those little sections even, then it's gonna look really amazing, right? So even, like I said, just adding this one little line where it's kind of the lotus leaf almost, or the petal, just adds that extra layer of fancy that makes our project look really amazing, okay? So like I said, we're just layering on, we're just adding things in until we've made something super amazing. Okay, so now I feel like I've got a pretty good start. Now I could, like I said, I could add in a little extra border here. I could add another dot or another 2 dots, or I could add a moon shape. There's all kinds of different things to do, right? So spend some time and be as creative as you can. Add in a little extra layering, add in a little extra detail, right? Because we want to make these bowls look amazing. So go ahead, be creative, start drawing out your pattern in your picture, and have fun with it. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.